All right, y'all, it's time for our last Bearded Wonder video of the unit. This time we're explaining contemporary politics. When we talk about contemporary, we're just talking about politics, basically the situation that we are experiencing now. Contemporary means con, with, and temp, which normally refers to time. And so it is with the time. And so when we say contemporary politics, we're talking about today. A lot of times we get confused. We want to call it modern politics, but a lot of historians consider modern history to be everything that's happened in the last 400 years. Obviously, that the history of the world is much longer, and so modern doesn't always mean like today. So we use contemporary instead. The first one we want to talk about is the neocon movement, which is not Comic-Con, although I would not be embarrassed totally to say that Comic-Con does seem like it would be pretty cool, but we are talking about neocon. So let's understand basically what the actual definitions of these words mean first. Conservative is one who wants to keep things how they are or were. And so when we say that we're conserving the planet, for example, we're talking about trying to take care of the planet that we live on, to conserve resources, to save them, to keep them how they are or were. And a liberal is one who wants to change things. And that's basically what we're talking about. So the question is, which one's good and which one's bad? And the answer is both. These are not they are value neutral positions. In other words, a conservative with respect to slavery would be bad. Somebody who wants to conserve it, who wants to keep it how it is, that's bad. Being a liberal would be a good thing. Somebody who wants to conserve the freedom of speech, however, might be a good thing, and somebody who's liberal who wants to take that power away would probably be a bad thing. But we need to understand that neither one of these terms is necessarily good or necessarily bad. A conservative or a liberal, it really depends on what the issue is, whether you think that it is worth saving or not, and that's whether it's good or bad. In contemporary politics, our typical application of these terms has come from Ronald Reagan, who positioned himself as a conservative, actually as a neoconservative. That means a new conservative, and he basically said that the Republican Party wanted to go back to the principles of federalism expressed by the founders. He talked a lot about Thomas Jefferson and just getting back to the way the government used to be created. Basically, to Ronald Reagan, that meant having less government in everything. He wanted to go back, so he was not talking about conserving the progressive changes to government. He actually wanted to go to the government before the progressive changes. So he wanted to stop the growth of government spending. He wanted to reduce income tax and also capital gains tax, which is basically the money that you get from investments. He wanted to cut back on the regulations on businesses. We call that red tape. You see the scissors there. Basically make it easier for companies to do business in America. And he also wanted to expand the money supply, so make it so that there was more money available. And that's basically what Reagan's economic policies, what a neoconservative meant, is to spend less, get the government involved in less, and let people just kind of do what they do. That's his goal. After 9/11, and by the way, the neoconservative movement by Reagan kind of influenced the next two presidents as well, George Bush and also Bill Clinton, who was technically a Democrat, but a very conservative Democrat, if you want to look at it in that kind of way. He didn't expand the government the way that Democrats today would talk about it, or even the way that his wife talked about it in her presidential campaign. After 9/11, however, government involvement has kind of swung against the neoconservative movement. And this is where we get Barack Obama is just one example of a politician that's kind of going in this direction, saying that we need to change the government. That was literally his slogan, right? Hope and change was basically what he thought should happen. And he thought that the government had to be more involved in order to give freedom to people. Major achievements for him is ending the Great Recession, they called it, in 2008, kind of stopping the American economics from collapsing into a depression. Regulating the banks after that fact, raising fuel efficiency standards. He's very proud of his nuclear agreement with Iran. Obviously, the one that's missing from this infographic that we have to put in here is Obamacare, which basically, a lot of people connected healthcare as a right and said that the government should provide that for people. And so that's a change. That's a liberal change. That's never been done before in American history. And so we get back to the basics of federalism, whether the national government should be more involved or not. If during this presentation or any of the presentations you found yourself angry when I said certain things or happy when I said certain things, that might be an indication of what your ideas are. It is not my job as your social studies teacher to tell you what to think or try to influence your political positions in any kind of way. So even as I was describing Reagan and Obama, I tried to kind of highlight the arguments that both of them made without telling you which one should sound better to you. If one did, then that might be more in line with kind of what you think. So I would like for you to just kind of reflect as we kind of end this unit on the changes of government. And how government has evolved and how this issue, especially of federalism, which is just this tension between state governments and federal government or the national government, how that has kind of influenced or shaped the argument throughout American history. I thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.